We have some breaking news right now. Terrible morning for the United States economy and the job market and the Trump administration as a whole. Job cuts for the month of October totaled 153,074, according to CNBC. That's a 183% surge from just September, 175% surge from October of last year, the highest level for any October since 2003, and the worst year for layoffs since 2009. This is the worst October that the United States economy has had in terms of job cuts since 2003. This is the worst year for the United States economy in terms of job cuts and layoffs since 2009. That's the year after the Great Recession. This is why Donald Trump is changing his tune on affordability. This is why we saw the results we saw on election night just 2 nights ago. Spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along, stay up to date on all the news that you need to know about.
Right off the bat, let's absorb those numbers. 183% surge from September, 175% up from last year. These aren't random fluctuations. This is systemic collapse in slow motion, and the timing matters. October means holiday hiring should be ramping up. Instead, companies are shedding workers like dead weight. That tells you everything about where the economy actually stands versus where they claim it stands.
CNN drops this lovely headline yesterday, and the comments are giving. Let's get into them. Okay, yeah, that's my comment. We'll move on past that. I just love the rest of these, like seasonal workers, what's the inflow versus outflow. Oh, this one's really good right here. Probably ICE recruitment. Not wrong. What's the rate of pay and the benefits? This is like crucial because a lot of companies are not paying well and they're not giving good benefits. And on the benefit side, it has a lot to do with the Affordable Care Act that the Republicans are trying to. Okay. How many are second jobs? Companies hiring for seasonal workers. Is that counting people that were laid off and rehired? Back to this one down at the bottom, right here. In November last year, we added 227,000 jobs. And the comment after that, which for some reason I didn't clip properly, said, oh, I remember when we had jobs reports that were in the 6 figures. Now we're making reports of 5 figures and acting like it's great.
This comment section gets it. 42,000 jobs added sounds positive until you remember context. Last November, 227,000. That's an 80% drop. And nobody's asking the crucial question, what kind of jobs? Part-time? Contract? No benefits? Because adding jobs means nothing if those jobs don't pay rent. We're celebrating crumbs while ignoring the empty plate.
I also really love this one. Without real mathematicians, can we even trust federal statistics? But again, like 42,000? Okay, that's like that's not even 1,000 jobs per state. Like, let's be so fucking for real right now. Again, living wage, health insurance. We all know these weren't public sector jobs. Obviously, more than 1 million people have lost their jobs since Trump took office. Or if they were already out of work, they are having a hard time getting new employment. So yeah. Oh, let's all be excited about 42,000 jobs, which is, I guess, like 850 jobs per state, which is abysmal because there's over 1 million people who are currently out of work and have no way of finding a new job because nobody's actually hiring. This is not a good statistic at all. There's nothing to celebrate here at all. On top of that, government workers are out of work. This is going to trickle down to other people. So trickle down economics, the king of that died on Tuesday. Thank God for that, I guess, because evil has left the earth in another form.
Here's where it gets real uncomfortable. Trickle down economics was always a scam, and now we're watching it fail in real time. When government workers lose jobs, they stop spending locally. Local businesses suffer, they cut staff, those workers stop spending. The cycle continues downward. This isn't theory. This is happening right now in communities across the country. And the people who promised this wouldn't happen, they're not the ones skipping meals.
And we're all hoping and crossing all our fingers that the other evil also leaves the earth soon, because enough is enough. Enough is enough.
So, really bad news for the US economy. A little bit of breaking news. This is huge news. So last month, 153,000 job cuts in the United States. This is the worst job cuts for an October in 22 years. So absolutely disastrous statistics. That's up 175% from this time last year. The US economy, folks, because of the shutdown, we're not getting a full picture exactly what's going on, but the things that we do see are worrisome and scary. And these figures are not going to make for a very Merry Christmas for a lot of American families. And I say families because 153,000 job cuts is 153,000 families that currently have had their jobs and wages cut. Folks, my name is Nick. That's also this is CNN. So let me know what you think about this in the comments.
150,000 people have lost their job. That's the worst October since 2003 and the worst October layoff since 2009. Understand in 2009, that was the year after the Great Recession. Not including the government does not have access for a lot of data because ADP, which tracks small businesses with 500 employees or less. All of the sole proprietor entrepreneurs who work for themselves, who's throwing a towel in and going back to work. A countless of people who work in the gig economy, Amazon Flex, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Instacart, etc. That money's not guaranteed. Shit is real and we take this shit for granted. So if you have a job, be thankful. Do what to do. Don't try to be out here keeping up with the Joneses. These holidays, do what's best for you and your family, man. Follow for more. I'm going to just give y'all what's really going on in real time the best way I can because it's real as fuck.
Respect this perspective. Genuine, practical advice without the sugarcoating. Because he's right. If you're employed, that's not guaranteed anymore. Stability is a privilege now, not a baseline expectation. And the gig workers, the contractors, the freelancers, they're invisible in these statistics. The real unemployment picture is far uglier than any official report shows.
So, in case you missed it, the once respected New York Times published this, and it was so bad and had so much backlash that they tried to change the headline twice, ending up with 3 total headlines, each arguably worse than the last. Publishing this during a time when our federal government is literally being bulldozed by the most mediocre, misogynistic men with far too much audacity and far too few meds and therapy for their rampant DSM diagnoses is certainly a choice like the ones that these sociopathic men are actively repealing from women being able to have. This conversation, one guised as critical thought and provocative discussion, is really just an audacious choice of topic. It's giving let's pick apart grandma's appearance and mannerisms while she's dealing with a concussion because a man pushed her down the stairs. It's giving, but what was she wearing? But New York Times, I'm so glad you decided to help the impending death of legacy media with this kamikaze of a piece. And this one a couple weeks ago in case you missed that one. Oh, and then the subtitle of this article, Can Conservative Feminism Fix It? I can't even attempt to unpack this oxymoron within the constraints of a 3-minute video, but the most succinct summary that I can give of conservative feminism, especially the way that they describe it in this discussion, is pick-me girl. Pick-me girl feminism, the type of women that carry water for the patriarchy, hoping that being master's favorite dog exempts them from the harms of patriarchy and inherent misogyny, while somehow not understanding the point that being master's favorite dog is still having a master. The conservative feminism, as they describe it, is not liberation. It is putting Swarovski crystals on your leash and collar and applauding that you had the choice to pick out what color those crystals were.
She's cutting through the noise here. Conservative feminism is rebranding compliance as choice. But the deeper issue? We keep asking marginalized groups to solve problems they didn't create. Men built these economic structures. Men are running them into the ground. And somehow the conversation shifts to whether women are responding correctly to the chaos? That's not analysis. That's deflection from accountability.
I also just really need the topic of conversation to also stop framing women as the solution for man-made problems. Men have built every construct of the system that we currently exist in. Meanwhile, every statistic is showing that they are falling behind in employment, in education, having troubles with dating, the male loneliness crisis. And yet with every thought piece that legacy media seems to come out about any of these topics, it tends to frame women as bearing the brunt of responsibility to provide a solution for this problem.
All right, let me tell you something. This idea of AI layoffs is bullshit. Don't blame the tech, blame the execs. Because let's be honest, no one's getting replaced by ChatGPT. No one's getting replaced yet. Let's say the quiet part out loud. These layoffs aren't about innovation. They are about inflation-proofing CEO bonuses. Cha-ching! Did you know this? CEOs at top companies, their median salary is $37 million. The average worker salary at those same companies is $110,000. Wow. That's a pay gap of 350 to 1. The biggest pay gap we have ever seen. If we're going to talk about innovation, let's talk about real innovation. Let's talk about building workplaces for parents, caregivers, instead of just building workplaces for people at the top. So stop calling them AI layoffs. Call them CEO bonuses.
350 to 1 pay ratio. Let that sink in. Your position gets eliminated for efficiency. Meanwhile, executive compensation hits record highs. They're not replacing you with AI. They're replacing you with nothing and pocketing the savings. This isn't innovation, it's extraction. And until we stop accepting their terminology, restructuring, streamlining, optimization, we'll keep missing the actual story. Wealth transfer from workers to shareholders.
Now that the government shutdown is finally over, if you're a federal worker, you're probably wondering, where is my money? When am I going to get paid? And the answer is, it depends on your department because of payroll. But here is what we know. Saturday, employees at the General Services Administration and Office of Personnel Management will get paid. On Sunday, Army and non-Army civilian employees at the Defense Department, VA staffers, Energy and Health and Human Services will get their back pay. On Monday, EPA, NASA, Social Security Administration, and the Departments of Education, State Interior, and Transportation. So think air traffic controllers. And then Wednesday, Small Business Administration employees and the Departments of Agriculture, Commerce, Homeland Security, Housing and Urban Development, Justice, Labor, and Treasury. By the 19th, the administration is hoping to have all back pay paid out, but some employees will have to wait until the next pay cycle to get other compensation like overtime or bonuses. Also, if you're a TSA agent with exemplary service during the shutdown, you could be getting a $10,000 check, courtesy of Secretary Noem. Happy payday.
Hello, job market. Might I petition you for a dollop of dollar, an inkling of income, an earmark of earnings, a welcoming of wages, a pleasantry of profits, a cornucopia of cash? Indeed.
And that's the perfect ending, isn't it? Dark humor because what else is left? Millions of qualified people reduced to begging algorithms for acknowledgement, applying to hundreds of positions, hearing nothing, watching job postings stay up for months because companies aren't actually hiring, they're harvesting resumes. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed, just not for you. So here's where we are. Worst job cuts in 2 decades. CEOs making more than ever. Federal workers treated like afterthoughts. And the rest of us refreshing job boards hoping for miracles. This isn't a recession yet, but it's not recovery either. It's something in between. This slow squeeze where everything costs more and opportunities cost nothing because they don't exist. The numbers don't lie. And right now, they're telling a story nobody in power wants to hear. If this resonated, drop your thoughts below. Share it with someone who needs to see the reality. And subscribe for more breakdowns that skip the spin. Because understanding the problem is the first step to demanding better. See you next time.